What's going on, everybody? It's Andy back with a video here to finish out the year. Thought I would do a little show and tell. I've been having a lot of fun over the last couple of months picking up some pre-war stuff. For anybody that doesn't know out there, prior to me starting the YouTube channel, I don't know, I guess it was probably like 5 years ago now. I had gone through some periods during my, 30 plus years of collecting where I had, really focused a lot on pre-war. And I haven't really talked about a lot of that stuff here on the channel. And, more recently, I would say probably since this year's National, I've really been focusing more on that again, kind of gotten the bug again to get back into some of the pre-war stuff. So I've picked up some pretty cool pieces over the last, couple of months. Some baseball, some non-sport. I've got a really cool one that I picked up in the Robert Edwards auction just a week or so ago that I'll show at the end. So that's one that I'm super stoked about. But hope everybody is having happy holidays out there. I know it's really cold weather here. I'm sure it is across the rest of the country as well. We've had, wind chills of like -20, so not really much you can do outside. So I thought today would be a great opportunity to, go over a few of these things and talk a little bit about these cards. So the first one that we'll talk about is the 1924 Z-Nut Mickey Cochran. So this is kind of like for the newer collectors, this is kind of like a pre-rookie, kind of like almost like a Bowman's first. So the Z-Nut cards, first off, Z-Nut was a candy company, and they produced these sets from the Pacific Coast League, which was minor league teams back then. As you can see, Mickey pictured here with Portland Beavers. But they made these sets from 1911 to 1938. A lot of the years they would have like a coupon that would be right here, and you could tear that off and send it in for various things. Most of the examples from the Z-Nuts that you see will be without the coupon. If you find the ones that have the coupon on there, that's awesome. But so yeah, this was a card that was put out prior to Mickey making his major league debut. I think he made that in 1925. So SGC has graded 9 examples of this card, and PSA has only graded 1 example. And I think that PSA tends to designate these cards as hand cut because I guess they're taking into fact that it did have the coupon. So if you clip the coupon off or tore the coupon off, they designate them as hand cut. But really cool card. It has some type of marking here on the back. Not totally sure what that is. It could be something that somebody just kind of stamped on there, wrote on there back in the day. But yeah, really neat card of Mickey. Obviously great Hall of Fame catcher. So the next one we have is a non-sport card, and there's a lot of debate over the years on some of these non-sport cards I'll show, but this is an N51 Allen and Ginter Thomas Jefferson, and it's from the 1880s. I would say it's safe to say that this set, it contains, like, I think it's maybe 22 presidents, something like that. It's pretty safe to say these were produced somewhere between 1885 and 1889, and the reason being is that Grover Cleveland is in the set, and he didn't actually become president until 1885. So PSA's only graded 1 of these, and SGC has not graded 1. This one is obviously in rough shape, as you can see, like, paper loss here. And then on the back, it looks like this might have been maybe removed from a scrapbook or something. It's has something obviously on the back. Like a regular back for one of these will have the list of the presidential cards that are included. But I just thought this one was really unique, very tough to find any of these from this set. So I thought I would just pick it up. I'm a sucker for unique things that you just don't see very often. Next up, I have two cards from this set, and these are called H603s, and these were produced by J.D. Larkin Company. This first one, George Washington. So if you're not familiar with this company, it was a soap company, essentially, that was located in Buffalo, New York, as you will see right here. J.D. Larkin Company manufactures of fine soaps. So they started off as a smaller soap company, but then their business really took off when they started doing like mail order. And their company, they stayed in business they started in 1875 and they stayed around until 1942 before they finally went out of business. Reading about this company, they had a really fascinating run, and I would recommend looking up the J.D. Larkin Company, and they had some interesting things. They were kind of ahead of their times, and as far as like mail order stuff, and it was a really successful business. So I picked up this one of George Washington, and this was one of the Sweet Home Soap was one of the many products that they had out there. And then the second card, same set, and Abraham Lincoln. This one, a little bit rougher shape, has the paper loss down here, and then it also has a little bit of paper loss on the back. Just really cool, unique cards. And some of these non-sports cards, really relatively affordable, I've discovered. And just having some fun picking these up. Now we'll get into some of the graded stuff. So this one, N346, Between the Acts, George Washington. And this one's graded a PSA 2. And this one, as you can see on the back here, Thomas H. Hall, that was a cigarette company, and they were obviously out of New York. Really cool. Like, I just like the back on this one. That's just kind of a neat little design there. But yeah, I was able to pick this one up. So, sweet card of our first president. This next one is funny. I actually saw Andrew Nuff Said Cards video, and he actually picked up this exact same card at a card show he was at recently. And that's the Duke Sons and Company Great Americans Abraham Lincoln. Now, the one that I have here is graded a 1.5. I think his was maybe a PSA 2. His is in better shape, and I'll flip this over and I'll show you why. On his version of the card, you'll actually be able to see the list of everybody in the set. This one looks like it was, possibly removed from some kind of scrapbook or something. But really cool card. Nice image there. So as you can see, a lot of these, they were put out as advertising by different cigarette companies. Very much like, T206 and a lot of the tobacco cards that were put out in baseball back in the day. This one, I just actually picked this one up at the UPS store yesterday. I picked this one up in the latest Leland's auction. And this is the 1910 Ward's Tip Top Bread George Washington. This one's in an SGC3. So this is, Ward's Bread. Obviously, they were another East Coast company based in New York. As you can see down here, save 50 labels from Ward's Bread and get a complete set of president portraits free. I may have to try to do that. And if you're ever hungry in the morning, this will Get rid of that morning appetite you have if you eat some of that bread. So this company obviously became eventually more well known for their Wonder Bread and Hostess products. But yeah, this is a really neat card. I know that Ward's Tip Top did some baseball sets back in the same time period that are very highly sought after, and I saw this one, and this very hard to find the of certain presidents from this set I've noticed, and this was a couple $100, so not anything that was crazy expensive, just a very interesting, unique card. So yeah, I just had to pick that one up. So this next one is this one's interesting. So what we have here, this is a 1916, and this is actually an M101-5 Sporting News card. Now, these cards would come with different backs. There's, I think, around 18 different backs that you can get, very much, like in the T206 set. And some of these backs, just like those, are extremely rare, extremely tough to find. So this one, we'll go ahead and flip it over here. This one is from the Successful Farming magazine. And I actually thought, I'll put this back up here in a second, but I want to show this. I actually thought it would be really cool as a companion piece for this card. I actually picked up a Successful Farming magazine, an original copy of it from 1916. And as you can see, 5 cents a copy, quite a bargain. So this is neat just to have, because you can look through this and it's it's kind of a time stamp of that period in history. So this card with this particular back, it's really tough to find. So they put out a 6-card promotional set that you could mail in for, and Grover Alexander was actually one of the players that was in that 6 cards. But the difference is here with the promo cards, you can see the number 4 down here. That's the number in the set. On the promo cards, there is no number. So the promo cards, I think SGC's graded like 2 of the promo cards of Grover Alexander with the Successful Farming back. But this is the only one that's ever been graded by SGC or PSA that has the number on it with this back. And it says on here, like, there was supposed to be 200 players in this set. I find that pretty hard to believe that actually happened. SGC's only graded 40 cards that have this back, and PSA's only graded 6 of any player. So just a very unique card, very interesting set. There's a lot of different back variations that are very challenging, and this is definitely one of the more difficult ones. Grover Cleveland Alexander, obviously tremendous Hall of Fame pitcher. So I saw this listed on eBay, and it wasn't listed very well. And it was actually in an old SGC slab. And I just, I had to make a run at it. And I was lucky to pull out the win. I think it ended like at an odd time too. It like ended in the middle of the night or something. It was just, there was a lot of weird things going on. And so very, very happy to have been able to pick this one up. The last card. Now this is one that I was really stoked about. I picked this one up in the most recent REA auction, and let's just bring it up here and show what we've got here. So we've got the 1927 York Caramels Ty Cobb in an SGC 6. Now, so there's 2 types from this set. There's type 1, which is like this, and then there's also a type 2, which they're a little more scarce on the type 2s, and the type 2s also they'll have like more of a glossy finish, but just a tremendous looking image on this card. and it's just in such great shape for a card that's, almost 100 years old. We're like 95 years old. And I was talking to Dave about this card, and one of the things too that I told him, I just really loved the back. So on the back, it says Ty Cobb, greatest player that ever lived, holds more records than any other 3 players. That's just cool. That just kind of speaks to the time. Um, and as you can see, the York Caramel Company was, well, I say York Caramel, it was a candy company that was, in York, Pennsylvania. So this was a 60 card set with a ton of Hall of Famers in it. This is a card that was towards the very end of Cobb's career. And I saw this card in that auction, and there was a couple of different cards that I was really interested in. And ultimately, this is one that I decided to make a run on. So yeah, very, very happy to pick this up. Feel very fortunate. Just a really neat piece of history here. All right, guys, that is going to be a wrap for today. So happy holidays to everybody out there, and I will catch you guys soon. Thanks.